Under 200 pounds, you're skinny, you have a six-pack. Because you're skinny, you're not, you're basically victim weight. You're a zebra.
Can I clean here?
So the other day I was scrolling on Instagram. I came across this video that we just watched right now. And I thought, I wanted to give an answer. So I did a little response, like quote unquote, on Insta showing, hey, you can be lightweight, you can be under 200 pounds and still like be in shape, look good and be strong. Because the message here, I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. And especially the message here is coming from somebody that claims to be like a religious person. And from my understanding of religion, it's about like acceptance. It's about lifting others up around us and not like putting them down. And here he's putting down people that don't weigh 200 pounds. So I wanted to do like a full-on video response, which will be this video addressing the first issue and then the answer, because the guy from the video actually answered to my reel on Insta. And let's unpack all of that today, all of us together. So first things first, claiming that if you're below or over a certain weight, you're like victim weight or you're lightweight, and then if you're above a given weight, you're like fat, doesn't make any sense because there's like a context around everything. You can be 140 pounds and be like extremely muscular, and is it still victim weight? And to the same extent, you can't be like 400 pounds and be like a mountain, be huge. Like for example, if we compare somebody that doesn't exercise at all, that's let's say 400 pounds, and we compare that to Thor, who's exercising a lot and he's also 400 pounds, we can see that those 400 pounds don't equate the same. So claiming that somebody is a victim or victim weight or not a man or whatever because he's below a certain weight doesn't make any sense at all. When I started to lift weights, I was a young teenager. I wasn't feeling good in my own body, in my own skin. I was very, very skinny. I was 50 kilos approximately, which is I think 110, 120 probably, around there. I started to lift weights because I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to be strong, all of those things. Looking back at where I started, so 50 kilos, very skinny dude, not being able to bench over 60 kilos, to where I was able to end up, like 2 times powerlifting world champion, benching almost 400 pounds at 145 pounds. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. But here, if we, take for reference what the guy is saying in this video, I shouldn't because I'm victim weight, because what I've accomplished doesn't amount to anything. And in reality, when you compare that, the goal is to be better from where you start. Not all of us are going to be 200 pounds and like have muscles and so on and so forth. Like if I wanted today, I could start like an insane bulk and maybe bulk up to 200 pounds, but I would be very, very fat. And that's not what I want for myself. Some people are okay with that, and apparently the guy from this video is okay with that for himself, and that's good for him, and I don't judge that. But my understanding of what I want to do with my body, with my health, is different from the others, and that's completely fine. Like you never see me, for example, put down somebody because I bench press more than them, or I squat more than them, or deadlift more than them, or whatever the case may be. Here, the dude is trashing probably a good chunk of like human population just because they're not 200 pounds. The reality is that if we want to take it this far and be like dumb as this whole situation is, I could say, hey, the guy from the video, I don't know his name, you're only deadlifting 550 pounds at your body weight, and I'm deadlifting much more than you. Like stiff bar, competition standard, everything. I'm much stronger deadlifter than you are. Anything for me to say you're not a man or you're victim weight or, it doesn't make any sense. So essentially that's where the situation was when I did my video. I was like, doesn't make any sense. Just because you're 140 pound, 150, 160, 170, doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you're victim weight. And he also says you can't bench 315 pounds. Obviously, he doesn't know anything about powerlifting, because if you know a bit about powerlifting, you know that some of the best powerlifters on the planet are below 200 pounds. Like I said it myself, 66 kilo, I was able to bench 180 in the gym. I was able to bench 178, which is the national record in France in competition. And you have some other crazy dudes also powerlifting below 200 pounds. So just first thing, it just shows he doesn't know anything about powerlifting in general. Second thing, my response was, hey, you can do great things. So he responded to that under my post and he said, this is steroid weight, laughing emoji, and you're what, 5'3"? So obviously steroid accusations. That's crazy because obviously that doesn't serve his idea that if you're below 200 pounds, you can't bench 300 pounds. Yes, you can. And not everybody who's benching 300 pounds below 200 pounds is on steroids. Just for the record, some of you guys maybe aren't aware, but I'm a powerlifter in the IPF, which is the Drug Tested Federation, and I've been part of the WADA group since 2021. So essentially for the past 5 years, almost, every day I must submit a schedule where I can get tested. So for example, right now I'm in Canada, I'm traveling, and I can get tested in Canada. Approximately have between 7 and 10 drug tests every year, and most of them are out of meat. So essentially, I don't know when they're going to test me. So it's the same testing level as like Olympic sports and professional sports and all of those things. So my dude, if you're willing to test me, I'm more than happy to take the test. I'm already getting tested like very, very often. So there's absolutely no problem with that. Second thing, so if it's not steroids, it's the height. So he's claiming I'm 5'3", where in reality, I'm closer to 5'7". So I'm 170 centimeters. I think it's close to 5'7". And even then, you know, it doesn't mean anything. Like you don't choose your height, you know what I mean? So if you're very, very tall, then good for you. And if you're not very tall, then one of the only thing you can't change on a human body is the height. So not only he wants to bash like people that don't weigh over 200 pounds, but he also wants to bash people that are around like 5'3", which like I said, again, isn't my height. I'm taller than that. And even if I was 5'3", I would be okay because obviously I know I'm not tall. One thing was very, very interesting, which was a guy in the comments said, hey, he can lift more than you. And he answered, no, he can't. But the truth is, I can. And the thing is, I found out that his best deadlift is 295 kilos, which is like 650 pounds, something like that. And my best deadlift in training and on stiff bar, which is not the same because he used a deadlift bar. Like I've said it in a previous video, deadlift bar is a bit easier. You can usually deadlift a bit more with the deadlift bar than with the stiff bar. But because I'm powerlifting in the IPF, I'm using a stiff bar, which is harder on deadlifts. And on a stiff bar, I deadlifted 300 kilos, 660 pounds, which means that I'm stronger than he is by 5 kilos or 10 pounds. And like I said, I hate to flex on people because in my opinion, when you're stronger than someone or when you know more things, the goal is to try to share with others, which is exactly why I'm doing this channel, because I want to share with as much people as I can my lifting technique or my programs or stuff like that in order to allow for people to also get stronger and, you know, lift more weights and feel better and be happy in general. But here, when somebody deserves a slice of humble pie, I'm more than happy to give it to him. So yeah, there you go, Father McMoses. I'm not sure it's his name, but I do lift more than you, while I'm 66 kilos and you're 100 kilos. So you can be below 200 pounds and not be victim weight, and you can be 200 pounds or above and not be as strong than somebody who you claim to be victim weight. So what does that make you? That's my question. That's what I wanted to show, that when I started to lift weights, I wanted to show that I could accomplish great things, even starting at 50 kilos, even starting as a skinny dude without the best genetics in the world, because again, not very tall, I was pretty skinny, and still I was able to accomplish great things. And again, like if we're talking from a sports perspective, I've accomplished much more than this dude has ever in his life. And my goal is not to flex on that, because I don't care, essentially, but my goal is to be like, defend those people that maybe are insecure about themselves and maybe they're not where they want to be in life, exactly where I was when I started powerlifting, when I started to lift weights, and show, hey, even if you're not that tall, even if you don't have the craziest genetics in the world, you can do great things as long as you work hard. And here, the guy is just bashing all of those ideas, all of those things that I've worked so hard for. So that's essentially why I wanted to make the video, and that's why I'm making this video also here on YouTube, because for me, those ideas aren't okay, and in my opinion, they could harm a lot of people, a lot of young men especially, more than it could do good to them. So I'm absolutely not a fan of drama on YouTube or Insta or wherever. I just wanted to make a first answer to the video, and then just here, this will probably be my last answer, even if he answers something else in return, etc. I don't care. I said what I wanted to say. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. As always, guys, if you want to support the channel, one of the best things you can do is to leave a comment, subscribe, and the next video will definitely be something more usual, like programming, technique, stuff like that. So make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.